Please take a picture. Yes, beautiful. And Gina, yes, completely, Gina. Okay, nice.
Is Kathy Antoine. I am a mechanical engineer, and I am very honored to be your MC for this webinar. Welcome to this webinar organized by the Universal Peace Federation on this day, the UN International Day of the Families, under the theme, Empowering the Family, Healing the Nation. We give a very special welcome to our 7 panelists who will each share their thoughts on the theme. I want also to welcome all the viewers who are joining us online. Thank you for showing your interest in this forum to discuss about the importance of the family. Let's give ourselves a round of applause to the panelists and the viewers. The International Day of the Families was established by the UN in 1993 and is celebrated every year on the 15th of May. It is a global observance that focuses on the importance of the families. The United Nations established this day to highlight the critical role families play in our society, and raise awareness of issues relating to families and to increase the knowledge of the social, economic, and demographic processes affecting families. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the Universal Peace Federation, UPF for short. The organizers of this forum. The Universal Peace Federation is a global network of individuals and organizations dedicated to building a world of peace centered on universal spiritual and moral values. It promotes interfaith cooperation and mutual understanding based on the principles of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. The UPF recognizes the central importance of the family for a world of prosperity and peace. The 2 mottos of the UPF are, peace starts at home, and the family is the first school of love and peace. You can learn more about us at the website upf.org. Now, allow me to introduce Mr. Remy Topier. He will give the welcome remarks. Remy Topier is the director of the Universal Peace Federation in Saint Lucia. He's originally from France, but has been living with his family in Saint Lucia for 27 years. He has 3 children and 4 grandchildren. One of his main efforts is to strengthen families, having recognized their vital role in society. He has conducted numerous workshops for conflict resolution and character education in schools and youth groups. A big round of applause for Remy Topier.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special online conference. We are holding this online conference to observe the International Day of the Families, established by the United Nations and observed every year around this day, 15th of May. So welcome to our viewers who are joining this conference, and a special welcome and thank you to our wonderful presenters. Our presenters took their precious time to reflect on this theme, empowering family, healing the nation, and they are ready to share their thoughts and their insight with us. So we are very grateful for this. So just by reading this theme, it seems to suggest that there is a connection between the health of the family and the health of the nation. So as we know, the nation is made of individuals, and all these individuals normally belongs to families. So the family, in fact, is the smallest unit of the nation. And who are the centers of these families? And who are the most important people in the families? These are the fathers and the mothers. And that's why a few days ago, we celebrated the Mother's Day. And the next month, we are going to celebrate Father's Day. So the fathers and the mothers are the first teachers of their children at home. And they are also their role models. So children are learning from their parents. That's why also parents are so important. So when we speak of strengthening and empowering families, we first, in fact, we are speaking of strengthening or empowering the fathers and the mothers in these families to be able to fulfill their roles and to become good parents. If we have healthy families, we will have a healthy nation. And when we speak of healthy families, this is not just only physically healthy, but also emotionally and spiritually healthy. Every one of us, we have a body and a spirit. That's why we have two aspects also in the family. So when I think of families, I remember my youth at home. When my parents and my siblings, we were sitting around the table for lunch or dinner and having simple talks together. Not big things, but these were precious moments. It was good to be together. So it was not just eating together, but in these moments, they were also nurturing. It was nurturing our emotional and spiritual health. This is how children can grow and develop and mature like that. So families need food, water, electricity, internet, decent work, at least for one of the parents. And also around, we need good roads for a good circulation for the food or to go to work. So that side, that's the responsibility of the government. The government is creating this safe environment for the families, and that's the role also of the politicians who are in charge of the government. And then there is the side of the emotional health or spiritual health. We need also a good emotional and spiritual environment. So that's created through a relationship with our loving Creator God and also with the help of churches. So both sides are important. We cannot say one side is more important. Both really need to cooperate. And still, I can say normally the spiritual side is more important, but they need both sides really to do their function. So we need good politicians, and we need good churches too, to be able to help to nurture healthy families. And then one more point I want to stress is when there is a good relationship between the grandparents, the parents, and the children, we have 3 generations like that, then it creates a stability for the extended family, but also for the nation. And naturally, somehow this stability is imparting the nation. And the values and what makes solid families can be passed on to the next generation. This allows also the nation to continue to thrive from generation to generation. So these are a few points I wanted to underline. So surely there are a lot of discussions around all this, and so I appreciate that tonight all of you can bring your unique way of seeing this. So we really appreciate. Welcome to all of you, and thank you very much to be here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Remy. You have thoroughly whetted our appetite, and I am looking forward to the rest of the thoughts that will be presented by our esteemed panelists. Join me in welcoming Melanie Mathre. Melanie Mathre is a 33-year-old primary school teacher who has been in the education system for about 14 years. She has an 8-year-old daughter whom she considers to be her greatest blessing. Melanie has a passion for performing arts, working with the youth and culture. She enjoys giving back to her community and volunteers her time serving in many capacities, including as an executive member of the Choiseul Youth and Sports Council, the youth coordinator of her church, as a member of the credit committee at the Choiseul Cooperative Credit Union, as a member of the La Rose group, and as a member of Clarolites, a traditional folk and dance group. Melanie strongly believes in empowering young people and equipping them with the skills necessary to take up more positive leadership roles within their communities, empowering them to make meaningful contributions to ensure a better society. Now, I need to say that we actually have two Melanie Mathres in the group. Unfortunately, we have the wrong Melanie Mathre up on screen. So please, Eliase, please bring out the other Melanie Mathre. Ah, yes, this is the Melanie I introduced a second ago. So,
but okay.
So let's welcome Melanie Mathre.
Thank you very much, Kathy. And let me first of all begin by thanking you for the opportunity to be able to speak in such a forum. Okay, so when I was asked to speak on this theme, empowering families, healing the nation, immediately I began to reflect and I tried to determine, but what does this theme mean? And when we examine this theme, it seems to suggest that strengthening and supporting families is crucial for the overall well being of a nation. It implies that through empowering families, a society can find a means of addressing social ills and challenges. It further implied to me that there is a direct correlation between how well the family functions and how well society functions. Indeed, this theme epitomizes the overarching view that the family is the cornerstone or the backbone of every society. Permit me to indulge you a bit at this point. I want you, listeners, to examine your life and think about the extent to which your family has helped shape the person you are today. For me, when I think of this, I can pinpoint several ways in which my family has influenced my life. But due to time constraints, I will only just share one example with you. So, growing up as a child, my parents, they always placed much emphasis. They were big on greeting people, just a simple act of kindness. To this very day, even as an adult, I find it very difficult to pass somebody by, whether that person is a friend, a family member, or even a complete stranger, without extending a warm greeting. In fact, you will find some of my friends telling me that I'm a little too friendly. But I'm saying this and using this example to show how influential the family is. At this juncture, I wish to delve or to look at rather the science aspect of things. Um, I would have done some psychology in Teachers College. And one of the things that I clearly remember is one of the theories stating that between the ages of 2 and 7. That is the first and most crucial brain development period. And that is literally the prime time to lay the foundation for holistic education for children. And if we really think about it, at age 2, most children at that age they're still home, not in school yet. So, considering this, we can say that the family is every child's first teacher, as Mr. Topia would have said earlier. In fact, the family is the fundamental unit that teaches an individual his or her first lessons about life in general. Lessons on morals, lessons on values, about the social norms, about acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior, about love, how to deal with conflicts, friendship, forgiveness, about God, and so many other things. These first lessons are crucial in helping to shape an individual's values, beliefs, and behaviors for life. It is where the foundation is laid. And of course, we cannot underscore the importance of a good, solid foundation. All builders know that a good, solid foundation, you need a good, solid foundation. And as Gordon B. Hinckley puts it, you must have a strong foundation to have a strong structure. In addition to creating this foundation and instilling values and morals throughout a child's life, the family is also responsible for providing them with basic needs such as food, clothing, shelter, and love. All of this while nurturing a sense of security, belonging, and togetherness. At this time, I cannot help but think of the old adage which says, children learn what they live. And I think that this saying highlights most significantly that children learn through the experiences that they are provided with. And most times, these experiences are provided by their family. These lessons that they learn remain embedded in them for life. And then, as you know it soon enough, they begin to live what they learned. They begin to display and imitate the very same behaviors, attitudes, beliefs that their family members display. These attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors continue throughout their adult lives and are passed on through generations. And of course, as we know it, this will become a cycle. In reflecting, something which stood out to me is that how much society's view has changed of a family. Growing up, long ago, I would hear my mother say stories about long ago. It was the family was just not just limited to people who you are related to by blood, but everybody was family. I'm sure some of you would know that growing up, everybody was an uncle, an auntie, or cousin, even if they were not related. It was always Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe was not related to you, but that was Uncle Joe. So long ago, the view was that everybody was family. But now society seem to have taken a shift, and our family is limited to people who are related to us by blood. And I think this has affected us negatively. Before, people believed in the adage, it takes a village to raise a child. Having said all of this, it is very important for us to ensure that the family structure is robust, as we have proven that the family plays a vital role in a child's development and shaping their lives in the future. In order for us to heal society and mold effective citizens, we must get it right from the very beginning. We need to nip it at the bud. How then can we empower families to ensure that strong foundations are built and developed on? First and foremost, I believe that sensitization is very important. We need to sensitize society on the vital role that families play because that role is key. We need to create more avenues and platforms and forums such as what we're having right now so that information can be disseminated. I believe that if families are made aware of how critical their role is, a more deliberate effort will be made on that path. Now, I know some people may want to play devil's advocates and say, that maybe the as a family member you instill certain values, but still there's the peer pressure and the influence. But I believe that if you are able to instill certain skills, such as decision making, conflict resolution, that even these outside influences, they will not be able to hinder the values that you have instilled in your children. So in addition to sensitization, experts also suggest that there are other things which can be done, which I agree with. First and foremost, we need to provide easy access to basic services such as education, healthcare, employment, social services. And I believe that in cases where countries they do have the resources and that they are capable, that such services should be provided free of charge. Secondly, we also need to foster a sense of autonomy, confidence, and resilience by organizing workshops and programs that aim at developing skills such as conflict management, decision making, and parenting skills. We also need to provide more networking opportunities where families can connect with each other, which is vital, so that these families can provide mentoring or even create support groups, which will help stabilize the family environment and strengthen family relationships. And we can also, very importantly, implement family oriented policies in the workplace that will allow parents to have more flexible work arrangements to decrease the level of absenteeism at the home. And we know that, like, you know what they say, money makes the world go round. So we need to create more job opportunities and opportunities for entrepreneurship to create more financial stability within families. As a teacher, I can tell you the significance of family in my classroom, in my students' lives. I see it every day. It's as clear as the sky, a blue sky. It's very evident within my classroom. I can see the vast difference between students who come from a home with a well built family structure and students with positive values, as opposed to students who come from the opposite end of things. You see a difference in the way the students perform academically, the way they behave in the classroom, the way they socialize with each other, their attitudes, and there's a big difference with their overall look on life. So, to end, I would just like to say that empowering families will help create a healthy environment, which is crucial in molding the lives of our children, who are indeed our future generation. If we are able to be more deliberate in instilling positive values, attitudes, and beliefs from a tender age, this will help create more model citizens who will make meaningful contributions, thus creating a better community, a better nation, and ultimately a healthier world. Thank you. I hope I stuck to my time.
Thank you so much, Melanie. I really appreciated how you brought your personal experience into your speech today. I really appreciate your perspective. Now our next panelist will be Mr. Omar Kombi. Omar Kombi is a digital media professional currently working as a marketing assistant at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Omar Kombi is a Catholic who serves as the PRO of the Youth Committee at the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception, also known as the Cathedral. He is the coordinator of the Presentation Brothers Bible in a Year program and the leader of the Exodus Men's Group. His hobbies include graphic design, reading, and playing video games. His hope is that every young person in St. Lucia can have a growing relationship with Jesus Christ and a deeper understanding of Catholicism. Join me in welcoming Omar Kombi.
Thank you for that warm introduction, Madam Moderator. Welcome to everyone for joining this session. It's a pleasure to be here. So as I start, I would just like to start off with a point of reflection. So I want you to close your eyes for a moment and think of a family member you would like to have a better relationship with. It could be a family member who that relationship is strained, maybe that relationship is broken, or maybe it's fine, but you feel like it could be deeper. Or maybe you'll have simply lost touch, lost connection. So just take a few seconds and think of that person right now. Call that person to mind. And once you have that person, I invite you to open your eyes again. So although this forum talks about or is aiming to talk about how we empower families on a whole, I believe that true sustainable change comes when individuals make intentional choices within their situation, and that snowballs into a greater and bigger effect. So my sharing really is going to be focused on how each of us here today can be an empowering force in our own families. So in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, we get the fourth commandment. Honor your father and your mother, that you may have a long life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Now, although this commandment focuses primarily on the most universal relationship of, mother, father, and child, the Catechism of the Catholic Church points out that this can extend further than that, especially when we live it out well. So when we live it out to its furthest extent, it goes beyond just the parent-child relationship, but as the Catechism puts it, and I quote, the duty of parents, the duty of students to teachers, employees to employers, citizens to their country and those who govern it. So when looking at it through this lens, the fourth commandment gives us almost like this biblical framework for sustainable development by showing us that, again, as our previous speaker mentioned, the family is the backbone. So I want to focus on 5 phrases that if we can say regularly within our own families and live out consistently, then we can empower our families, and in doing so, that will ripple effect into our nation. So the 5 points are, the 5 phrases: I appreciate you. I will pray for you. I see it differently. I am sorry, and I will do better. So I appreciate you. My mom always tells me, Omar, start with the positive. We can be very negative as solutions. We can be very critical, and especially when it comes to our family. But the reality is, if all we do about our families complain and put down, then our families aren't going to grow. They aren't going to feel empowered. I'm sure many of us know the feeling of when a parent says something disparaging to us. It just completely kills our self-esteem. So that it's necessary for us to start from a point of building up from positivity rather than negativity. In leadership, the phrase is called appreciative inquiry, where you look at what strengths are already there, and from that, you build on it. So for us as individuals within our families, we must make gratitude the fuel that encourages and motivates us to empower our families. You have to find at least one redeemable trait, one thing where you can be like, okay, I am thankful for this from this person, even if it's as basic as they gave birth to you. But find that one thing. And once you get that, express appreciation for that as much as you can, because it will have an effect. So for that person that you thought of during the reflection, what is one redeemable trait of theirs? I will pray for you. We know that nothing is possible without God. But nothing is possible without God. So prayer has to be central to this whole goal of us building up the family. And it's not just a matter of praying for what we think our family members need, but actually taking the step and asking them, hey guys, how can I pray for you? Whether it's us asking our grandparents that, or whether it's us asking our children that, you'd be surprised by how that question can give you a whole different perspective of what is on the hearts of those you think you know the best. I see it differently. In our culture, especially in many of our Caribbean families, peace is the absence of war. So we don't have issues because we don't talk about the issues. But that silence becomes a poison in its own right. And what happens is that poison slowly kills the relationship and we end up drifting apart. So there come times where we need to risk the disagreement in order for the family to grow through dialogue and grow in wisdom and understanding. I am sorry. That one says it for itself. Forgiveness and reconciliation are key for families, and it starts off with one of the parties saying, I was at fault here. I did wrong. And it's a tough one. It's tough to admit fault. I know I struggle with this one too. But it's a critical first step in terms of repairing rifts and healing wounds. And lastly, I will do better. Sorry without action, without improvement, is just a second insult. Yes, we apologize, but we have to strive to do better because we've all fallen short of the glory of God. We've all fallen short in being Christ-like, but we can improve. We can do better. And our family members will respect that effort, even if they don't immediately acknowledge it. So just to wrap up, these 5 phrases, these 5 points are simply just different aspects of the greatest commandment, to love. If you love, you will thank. If you love, you will intercede. If you love, you'll be willing to debate when necessary. If you love, you'll be willing to express apology. If you love, you'll be willing to strive to improve. So once you can practice this in your own home, I assure you there will be a ripple effect. But I know oftentimes in these forums, we say all the nice things and then we go home and we don't do it. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, with the little time I have left, send a message of appreciation to that family member you had on your heart. Whether it's a text, a voice note, do it right now. I have like maybe 30 seconds or so left in my 7 minutes. Take the time and just send a message. If you need help, here are some examples. And once you do that, I just want to leave you with a quote that's attributed to Mother Teresa. It is easy to love the people far away. It's not always easy to love those close to us. It is easier to give a cup of rice to relieve hunger than to relieve the loneliness and pain of someone unloved in our own home. Bring love into your home, for this is where our love for each other must start. So with that message of appreciation, you've started the process. The rest is up to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar Kombi. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your message of individual responsibility and positivity. I'm sure all the members of all the viewers can implement what you have said today. Moving along with the program, Our next presenter is Elizabeth Suma. Elizabeth Suma is a natural science teacher at the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School. In particular, she teaches biology, chemistry, and integrated science. Additionally, she is the head of the Natural Science Department, the head Dean of Discipline, and the chair of the Form 5 Prefect Committee. Elizabeth is single with no biological children, but thinks of herself as the mother to many students. Her hope for St. Lucia's youth is that they realize that they are both individually and collectively important to their self-advancement and the advancement of our country. Her mission has been and continues to be assisting young persons in finding their niche, their unique role in society, and helping them to work towards that goal by building together, not destroying each other. Everyone, Elizabeth Suma.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Topia, Miss Antoine, our moderator, my esteemed panel colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen on the platform. When I was approached to be one of the presenters in this forum, I had no knowledge of Mr. Topia or the organization which he represents. I was approached by my priest from my Roman Catholic Church, Our Lady of the Rosary of Fatima, and he asked me to do it. Initially, I wanted to say no, but I said, okay, I would go ahead because I had, and like I told Mr. Topia, my plate was full, but I made time. I am very honored to be given the opportunity to speak on a theme that has global significance, but it touches the core of our St. Lucian society, that of empowering families, healing the nation. The common perception in modern time, in our time today, is that a nation is built based on its political framework and the policies that are formulated and enacted thereafter. But this is only a minute part of a much bigger picture. You see, we live in a world where nations are built not just by political agendas, but by people. And if we are to ask ourselves the question, where do these people come from? The answer would be that they come from the foundation on which our societies are built, that being the basic unit, the family. I would ask you now to think of your own family as you grew up. Some of us are still growing up. I still consider myself as growing up. Was that family not your first school before daycare, preschool, or formal schooling? Was it not your first governmental encounter with parents and older family members laying down the law of the home with its rules and regulations? What about your first hospital or wellness center, where cuts, bruises, headaches, and fevers were tended to with medical precision? Let us not forget the most important. The family served as our first church, where we learned how to communicate with God through prayer. So it is safe to state that within the family, values are instilled, identities are fashioned, and futures are molded. As a result, there is a direct relationship. Now, I am a science and math teacher, all of the above. So you will see me bringing in a lot of what I do in the classroom here. There is a direct relationship between the strength of a family and that of a nation. And Mr. Topia alluded to that in his welcome address. Because when we have strong families, the nation is also strong. But when families are broken, fragmented, the nation begins to unravel from its very core. So, how do we empower families? We do so by making available the necessary tools, support, and opportunities needed for it to thrive, not just survive. This includes, but not limited to, emotional support, economic stability, access to education, and not just formal education, as in within a school, but education to deal with all the holistic person, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Access to healthcare and a safe, nurturing environment which promotes love, respect, and understanding. If we are to view the family as society's foundation, where children learn how to think, speak, and act by emulating what they are exposed to by parents, guardians, extended relatives. Because in my classroom, when students come before me as the head dean of discipline, one of the things I constantly ask them, where would you have learned this behavior from? Where would you have picked it up from? And some of them tell me point blank, Miss, this is common at home. So it's not something that they would have only viewed on television or seen in the society or seen on social media. They tell you, Miss, this is common at home. And I teach students from Form 1 to Form 5. So I teach the older ones, not the primary and infant school ones. So the family is the bedrock, the place where love, forgiveness, tolerance, dialogue, and dreams, where these must be cultivated, not just developmental milestones, such as language and numeracy. Today is also the second day of CPEA, our common entrance, local common entrance. Lots of emphasis has been put on the students' academic preparation. But what we see many times are students who come to us at the secondary schools from the primary schools who are basically blank slates. They don't have anything in terms of their holistic development. Yes, they have the grades, but in terms of social graces, as Melanie alluded to, the please, the thank you, excuse me, waiting your turn, being patient, tolerant, fair play, all the ethics that need to be inculcated in them from small, these are not there at all. In families, If families, are viewed as the architects of character, where a healthy home negates the need for large-scale behavioral reforms and behavioral reform targeted programs, then children are more likely to become contributors to society's advancement than a death rate statistic. Empowered families raise responsible citizens, ethical leaders, and compassionate neighbors, where being your brother's keeper reduces the need for burglar bars, security cameras, and the increasing desire that we see today for firearm protection. Unfortunately, in St. Lucia, we see a mirror image of what is occurring globally, where the breakdown of the family unit is happening exponentially. And the cost of broken homes due to poverty, domestic violence, addiction, absentee parenting, and economic hardship is causing society to fracture. This results, as we know it well, in rising crime rates, the enticing of gang culture. This is a prevalent issue at our schools, and not just secondary schools and tertiary education schools, right down to the infant and primary schools. It's there. A lure of substance abuse and the hopelessness that ensues. All of these lead to an increase in mental health issues and in communities feeling disconnected. The nation pays a heavy price when the family system is not supported. Healing the nation starts with healing the home. So how do we empower families? Melanie alluded to it. Omar did as well. Education of both parents and children must be at the forefront. Childbearing does not automatically equip you for child rearing. In other words, not because you can have a child, conceive and deliver a child, does it mean that you are ready for the responsibility and the vocation, not the job, the vocation, the calling without any tangible returns, the vocation of parenthood. Not because you give birth to a child, does it mean you qualify to be a parent. So educational programs are needed, not just by the children, but also by parents. This was something we had instilled in our school some years ago, but unfortunately, it fell flat. So, as I see my time is up, let me wrap up. Many times parents say they give up, they don't know what to do. They have no idea what it is that they should do with their children. How can you as a parent give up? A child's education is important and just as important as parenting guidance. So therefore, in conclusion, we need the support systems. We need all agencies on board, governmental, religious, societal, to assist us in ensuring that our nation is not just free from war and violence, but one where every family has a chance to flourish. Let's strive to build a nation in St. Lucia, one empowered family at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Suma. Thank you for your time today. Your thoughts were logical, distilled, and straight to the point. Thank you again. Our next presenter is Dana Japierre. She works as a business technician at a telecommunications company on the island. She recently graduated from Sir Arthur Lewis Community College with an associate degree in electronic engineering. Within her parish, she serves as the vice president of the Nightingales Junior Choir. In this position, she helps nurture children's self-expression and spiritual growth through music and active participation in Mass. This includes training them to lead liturgy, sing psalms, and engage with the community by spreading joy through song. She is deeply committed to initiatives which empower youth through communal bonds, whether through a choir, a football team, or a Bible study group. She believes that these spaces foster connection, faith, and personal growth, all attributes which are vital in shaping confident, compassionate young individuals. Dana Japierre.
Hi, good evening. As said, my name is Dana Japierre, and I have to say the presentations tonight have been very informative, and I hope that my input tonight will shed a little light and give you something to think about. So everybody knows the saying, it takes a community to raise a child, or it takes a village to raise a child. So then, why are our families, which are the cause of the community, not being nurtured? Throughout my life, I've seen a great variety of different family dynamics and the children that come from these different family dynamics. I've discussed these things with people in my community, my church, my family, mentors. For me, being in various community groups, I have seen for myself the different children that come out of these homes and how they interact with each other. So we can try uplift in the same community groups. You can try uplifting these children, giving them a space where they can develop, they can become better members of society. But that is not always the best thing, or it will not always have the biggest impact. Because when they go back home, the home that they live at, they go back to every night with the parents that they love and adore and the parents that they look up to for most things in life. When they learn certain habits and certain reactions from home, when they get out there in the real world, I have to say, we as people that try to help them will not have an effect, but the effect would be greatly overshadowed by the people at home. We will not be interactive for the rest of their lives. So I'm sure most of the people here have interacted with a child, and I'm sure you've seen that they observe a lot. They ask a lot of questions. They ask you why for every single thing, or what is that? And why do you do that? These are the questions that they ask when they want to learn something. They observe you to learn, to develop, to become their own person through observing you, through learning from you. They do this to learn how to read, how to write, how to interact with people. And I don't know why people would expect a child to be raised and to end up completely different from their parents, let's say, if their parents are of a bad character. If a child can pick up the way that their mother has a wet cloak, she eats her mango weirdly, and they pick up that same cloak, why wouldn't the child pick up the same habit of her mother confronting someone? Why? Not to say that we don't make mistakes, but in a sense, we have to realize that our actions make a change in a child and sow little seeds to make this grand bouquet in a child's life. And in that same breath, as the family that is guiding the child through life, why are some people so against the guiding of that child? Maybe the child went out into the world, came back home, and had certain habits that did not reflect the way that you would like them to live their life. Would you just continue to let them on doing the same wrong things? No. There would need to have a pathway for constructive criticism and guidance for that child. And that is all part of the self-reflection, I think, that a lot of parents have to make in their life, and a lot of people as well, because it's not only parents in the home, it's parents, aunts, uncles, caretakers, who may be the first teachers hired by a family, or that assist the family in their life and whatnot. And I can say that in my own personal experience with my family, there are morals that were instilled in me from a very young age where I thought that maybe they might be a little too strict. Maybe I might be a little too, picked upon at times by my parents and whatnot. But all that led to me becoming the person that I am today. All the nights of me coming home, talking with my mom, reflecting on my day, and saying a prayer for those that I might have met, people that I saw, and for the people that I love, teaching me that I need to appreciate the people in my life. All the times where if I did something wrong, she would talk to me, maybe rather sternly, maybe my dad as well too, rather sternly, but still showing me the way that I should go, guiding me and teaching me what a baseline should be in my life. Because there are skills that a child needs to learn. There are life skills that you cannot teach at home. It all comes through experience. But you can at least lay the groundwork for the child so that when they go out there, they can be a positive influence on themselves and a positive influence on the people around them, making the community better from the ground up. For interactions with children, maybe who haven't come from the best of backgrounds, and empowering them by empowering themselves and being the best person that they can be, we can heal the community from the inside out. All these things can contribute to healing a nation by laying the groundwork, instilling morals into a child that can help them grow and be a responsible person in society. Maybe not a full example. We all make mistakes, but to lay the groundwork to be a person that can contribute to society and little by little make the nation a better place and allow us to grow and to heal. So when you go after this seminar, after you take in everyone's words, because trust me, it sounds like there are many, many great things coming out of the different panelists today. I want you to sit back and think, to the people in my life, to the children in my life, and to everyone that I've encountered, have I been my best self? Have I shown the character? Have I assisted in developing someone in the way that I think will benefit society and bring our nation to a better place. I just want to leave that with you for this evening. And I wish you have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana Jean-Pierre. Thank you for your vivid illustrations on our responsibility in the family. Thank you so much. Moving along with our program, our next panelist is Zephaniah William. Zephaniah William is currently a business teacher at Patricia D. James Secondary School. Zephaniah's involvement at Divine Kingdom Enlightenment Ministries includes booth duties such as sound technician and chairing. His vision for the youth of St. Lucia is that they discover their God-given purpose by seeking Him first. He would like to serve as a mentor to St. Lucian youths, whether academically or spiritually. Join me in welcoming Zephaniah William.
Thank you. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. When I heard about the theme, empowering families, healing the nation, what first came to mind is the Word of God. Many agencies try to brainstorm ideas of how to tackle this issue, but they have never gone back to the fundamental book, the Word of God. It is He speaking to us. The family is described as a microcosm of society, a place where things begin or are birthed. Having families that are empowered creates a stable, focused, and disciplined nation. Families that embody faith, love, peace, knowledge, and understanding produce strong communities, and strong communities from a healed and thriving nation. God's design for the family. We're going to begin here. In Genesis 2:24, the Bible says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become flesh." From the beginning, God created the family as the first institution. Before the church, before the government, it is within the family that identity is formed, values are passed down, and love is first experienced. When families stray from this design through absence of a loving leadership, broken marriages, lack of spiritual guidance, or neglect, the consequences can be significant. For example, we're going to take a fatherless home. A single mother raises 3 children after the father abandons the family. The absence of a present and engaged father figure, which disrupts the model of shared parenting and spiritual leadership. Children, particularly sons, may struggle with identity, confidence, or authority. Studies have linked fatherlessness to higher rates of behavioral problems and lower academic performance. Without that spiritual guidance from both parents, children may not develop a strong foundation of faith or moral values. We go back to the word in Genesis 2:10. A generation rose up who did not know the Lord after their parents failed to pass on the knowledge of God. The result was chaos and spiritual decline. A nation without direction, much like a family without godly leadership. So, to conclude with that point, when families do not align with God's design, the breakdown often leads to emotional instability, weakened values, and generational cycles of dysfunction. On the other hand, when families strive to reflect God's intention, love, unity, mutual respect, and godly leadership, they tend to flourish and provide stability for future generations. Another way we can empower our families is through God's word.
The Bible provides clear instructions for family rules. In Ephesians 5:25, husbands are told, love your wives just as Christ loved the church. In Proverbs 31, the woman is praised as a pillar of wisdom, strength, and resourcefulness. Children are instructed in Ephesians 6:1-3 to obey their parents so that their life may be long and blessed. And empowering families means returning to biblical principles, plain and simple, teaching God's word at home, modeling forgiveness, patience, and sacrifice, praying together as a family unit. Nowadays, we are all busy, no longer time to come together in the morning, pray about the situation. This builds not just faith, but with resilience, peace, and purpose. We're going to take a family. The Johnson's family struggled with communication, constant arguing, and emotional distance. The parents were on the verge of divorce and teenage children were rebelling. They began attending Bible-based church, committed to studying the Bible together as a family. They read the scriptures on forgiveness, love, and humility. You know, they began to pray together. That's what happened. The parents reconciled, built a stronger marriage. The children began to show more respect and responsibility because the word embedded in them changed, transformed their lives. Their home environment changed from tense to peaceful. That is why we have to go back to the biblical foundation. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Plain and simple. The declaration represents a conscious decision to let God's word shape every part of family life. Empowering families through God's word leads to transformed hearts, healed relationships, and a stronger sense of purpose. It equips families to grow in love, unity, and spiritual maturity, creating homes that reflect the light of Christ. Another way we're going to empower family, the family as a light to the nation. An empowered family blesses the nation. Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Families are called to shine, especially in a nation like ours, where violence, fatherlessness, and economic struggle often dominate. Pause for a moment. Imagine if every home in St. Lucia restored the role of father as a protector and spiritual leader, honored the mother as a nurturer and a wise counselor, raised children with discipline and divine purpose. Just think of it. Where would we be? Let's, for example, a Christian family living in a large circular neighborhood. Despite being different, the Maynard family lived out biblical values, showing hospitality, helping neighbors, and involving their children in acts of service. A struggling family asked for prayer and they eventually came to church. The children became leaders among their peers, known for integrity and compassion. The home became a hub for hope and encouragement in the community, a true light to their surroundings. So despite how we see our neighborhood, we have to serve as that light that will empower them, draw them to Christ, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without whoops and crooked nation. Then you will shine among like stars in the sky. When families walk in God's truth and love, they shine like lights in the dark world. Their calling brings purpose to the home and multiplies God's influence throughout generations. A single family can impact the neighborhood and even a nation simply by living faithfully and publicly for God. Just say our schools would change, our crime rates would drop, our churches would overflow, our economy would shift. Why? Because healing begins at home. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zephaniah William. Thank you so much. Thank you for drawing our attention to the strength we can gather from implementing heavenly values in our family lives. Thank you so much. Our next presenter is Malini Mathre. Malini Mathre is currently employed with the MNC shipping department as a customer service representative. She is open to volunteering her time in any deserving NGO or charity. She prays that God impacts the youth of St. Lucia in a very pronounced way. She hopes that they are inspired to be kind to each other, become unified, control their anger, recalibrate, and renew their mind. She wants to be a prime motivator for young people by teaching them that the sky is the limit in anything that they want to achieve. Their life is self-defined. She believes that key lessons include the purpose of an education, the purpose of setting goals, how to be confident, networking to get exposure, how to have God-life balance. That is, being able to balance your relationship with God, trying not to compromise your lifestyle on earth, and how to be aligned with God. I present to you Malini Mathare.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, and good evening to my panelists. Thank you so much. Okay, so my brief understanding of what it is to empower family and to heal the nation. First and foremost, I believe that before anybody should understand what empower families, how should to feel empowered is to be self-aware of assessing what is having confidence, the belief of knowing that you can achieve something. If someone is not empowered, they are unable to empower other people around them. Two or more marriage or adoption, but some persons, this is almost like the brief understanding of what the term family means. However, some persons can actually be connected, whether it be in a friend group, whether it be in a church setting. You don't have to be related to someone by birth, marriage, or adoption to become a family. Empowering families is a beautiful goal. Families are the heart of communities, and empowering them can create a long-lasting positive change, especially in our country, St. Lucia. Families can be empowered through education, financial well-being. Each family empowering families start with creating strong foundations system which helps in the facilitation of growth, resilience, and stability. Education, skill development, encouraging constant learning helps families thrive. This can include financial literacy, parenting workshops, career, how they could impact providing support to families financially, even planning, access to job opportunities, entrepreneurship programs. 3, strong communication. 4, community engagement. Social connections are very mentorship, local resources, community programs, faith-based organization. Number 5, mental and physical prioritizing well-being through accessible healthcare, nutrition, education, and mental health services. 6, positive family values and tradition. Setting shared goals and practicing gratitude can create a strong sense of identity. 7, advocacy and rights awareness. Educating empowers them to make informed decisions. Has a huge impact on our society, as some of my colleagues alluded into their presentations. And without them, having to play their part would almost be impossible for our society to thrive. What does the Bible say about families and their roles? Now we are going to take it from a different perspective as what is expected of the children and what is expected of the parents. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12 indicates, honor your mother and father, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord is giving to you. This simply means, as a child, children are supposed to, not want to, supposed to honor the, how are in society. Proverbs 22, 6 says, train up a child in the way, even when he's old, or not depart from it. This simply means that as a parent, you are supposed to train your child in the expectation, or what are you supposed to instill in your child so that they could actually move on. Colossians 3:20, children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Timothy 1, First Timothy chapter 3, for if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he care for God's church? If anybody, part of a family, doesn't know how to manage his or her own household, whether it be financially, teaching your children the basic necessities of life, like manners, how are you able to care for persons around you, and how are you supposed to abide with what God is actually asking you to do? First Timothy 5:8 says, but if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his believer, how can you not be able to provide? Said, how can you, there's a difference in bearing a child, what is. So if you cannot provide the basic necessities for your family, how can you have an impact, and how are you able to empower? Like I said, empowerment starts with, how are you supposed to feel empowered? A few initiatives that St. Lucia can in families feel empowered or be empowered: having school-based programs. Schools often help shape the young journey. For parents, mentorship programs, family projects, where a family can volunteer and participate in service with back into St. Lucia. Family fun days, meaning like having activities that could actually bring unity with other families, trying to be diverse. Train our workforce, idle minds. So you, as St. Lucia, trying to help this person strengthen and fasten their skills, they will not learn into the bad. Financial education on money management, entrepreneurship for economic stability and independence for our own self. And in closing, families play a vital role in society. Without them, it's impossible to actually help family, help empower and strengthen family. Chain effect, families, government, and God are needed in the equation to help empower and help our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marlene. Thank you so much. Thank you for your thoughts and your time today. Thanks again. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts today and your time. Lastly, but not least, our last presenter today will be Gina McPhee. Gina McPhee is a young advocate working as the communications officer at Invest St. Lucia. She has faith and unwavering belief in the power of advocacy coupled with action, having the potential to ignite significant change and instill a sense of hope. Gina, a certified public speaker, poet, scriptwriter, and video editor, strives to be a woman of passion and vigor. Her active participation in numerous youth empowerment forums, her role as a moderator in panel discussions on thought-provoking topics, and her experience as a seasoned debater and youth parliamentarian showcase her versatility and commitment to community engagement. She has served in various capacities, including as the leader of the Salvation Army, Castries Citadel Core Youth Group, the Public Relations Officer of the National Workers Union Youth Council, an executive member of the Castries East Youth and Sports Council, and the acting Public Relations Officer of the St. Lucia National Youth Union. Join me in welcoming Miss Gina McPhee.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kathy. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. And after hearing all of these amazing and insightful presentations, I was a bit worried whether or not I should still be speaking right now. Yes, but kudos to everybody. The presentations were so good. I was on the bus and still had the opportunity to listen to them. But I am so honored to be able to join you today to deliver a few minutes on a topic that lies at the heart of our society, that lies at the heart of our communities, and the topic that lies at the very hearts of our schools. It also exists in our churches. I'm so happy that Zephaniah was able to place that foundation as it relates to the church and faith, and also a topic that really speaks to the very soul of our nation, and that is empowering the family, healing the nation. But permit me to rephrase just for this evening that we're going to bring the topic into just being a little bit more clear, that when we empower our families, we heal our nation. The dynamic role of the family cannot go unnoticed. In fact, the family remains a fundamental and universal institution that has existed throughout human history and serves numerous vital roles and functions that are essential to developing and maintaining a healthy and stable society. Within this unit, we find our first school, whether it be learning to sing along to nursery rhymes or cultural tunes. We find our first nursing station when the most effective medication had no bitter taste, so it was not medicinal. but just the sweet healing of your mother's kiss. I think a lot of us can relate to that. The family is our first place of worship and the first support system that we ever experience. And it is within the family that our values are shaped, our identities are formed personally and culturally, and we are empowered to become good, useful, and impactful citizens to society. So when we empower the family, we are not just strengthening a household, rather, we are fortifying the very foundation of our nation. And by empowering, I mean by coming together as communities to present parents with the support they need to raise their children with wisdom. And I think somebody had spoken so wonderfully on that point, how we support parents. So we come together, we support parents to with the wisdom on how to raise their children, how to love and how to show discipline. It means ensuring that families have access to education, to healthcare, and economic opportunities. It means honoring the elderly and nurturing the young. It means that we must promote strong marriages, relationships, unity, and mutual respect within the home. So, recognizing that when families break down, we see the chain reaction. I think it's clear around the world, we see the chain reaction of when families break down. We see social ills have increased. We see the increasing crime, mental health issues, and not forgetting the division among generations. But when families are whole, when children are guided with love, when spouses support one another, when homes become safe places, then we suddenly begin to see that healing that flows into our communities and into the nation itself. Confucius had something that he said, and he said the strength of a nation derives, from the integrity of the home. And it's so true. So we must not underestimate the power of a single household or the power of us as a people, because in all things, we are a universal family. Among all of us are future leaders, change makers, pastors, advocates. But really, these dreams, these realities start from home. So as we leave this evening, I would love for us to ask ourselves, what can I do to empower my family and families around me? Or what impact can I make within my very own community? And if each of us starts, if we all take a stance to invoke change, we can transform the heart of this nation and the nations that exist all around us. So let us begin, let us build, let us heal, let us come together one family at a time. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gina. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for making it today. Thank you so much. Now, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Remy Topier to give the closing remarks.
Oh, good evening, everyone. And that was wonderful to hear everyone. It's amazing that it's the same theme, but everyone could approach it from different aspects, different angles. Some more like trying to guide things, some more directive, some more trying to be very practical, some more, how do you say, how it should be or ideologically. But I could feel the sincerity of each one of you to really see better families and the deep understanding, at least, that we cannot have a better St. Lucia without better families. It really go together. So on that point, we can unite. And in a sense, it's almost a pity that we cannot be even in person and meeting each other to discuss that, maybe a little bit more. Well, it's something maybe we can do in the future. Maybe we could continue this to meet. And I think we need that kind of reflection, and we need to support to have a better awareness of this. I think in our nation, on the government level, in the churches too. We need to really, it has to become really the central point that can, I think, even unite beyond the differences of different denominations and beyond the differences of political parties. I think there something that can really unite everyone to make this nation really a wonderful place. You are all young people, so I appreciate also your enthusiasm and also your, I'd say, your ideally, you really want to make St. Lucia a better place, and that's great. So let's try to meet again. I will try to organize that, in fact, maybe in the future. And thank you very much for all your presentation. This really was like a beautiful symphony with different way to do and different experiences. So thank you very much. So I guess this is the end. We could make a photo, kind like a photo together. We can maybe wave or something like that. And Eliezer, please take a picture. Yes, beautiful. And Gina, yes, come quickly, Gina. Okay, nice. Well, thank you very much, everyone, and see you again. Bye-bye. May God bless you. Bye-bye.